in games going into last night's matchup with the Warriors, and a lot of players are talking about toxic environments and being frustrated with the team's performance. But the Celtics pulled off a 128-95 win over the Warriors last night, and Kyrie Irving had this to say about how the team got back on track.
That long plane ride helped us out. I'll just say that. That long plane ride helped us out. We needed it. It was just, we were going to get to a point where we were just going to get tired of, fighting each other, fighting the outside world, and it doesn't really matter. So we just want to come out here and just play basketball. This is our sanctuary, and we got to do everything to protect it. We can't let anybody infiltrate this.
How about that? Getting along now?
Well, look, sometimes it just takes the conversation of airing it out to get back on the same page.
Of course.
There's a lot of talent on that team. They have a lot at stake here, and they have championship expectations. So at one point or another, they needed to get in a room or a long plane ride and have those conversations.
Yes. Seriously. One of the things, it's funny, when I used to work out east and I would fly to the west, I'd get on these 5.5-hour flights. And it's how I wrote both my books. Because I was so focused in the moment, 5.5 hours on a plane, it's like, I'm going to get a bunch of homework done. I would never be more focused, I'm kind of an ADD guy, than being on that plane. When you're trapped in a small tube for 5.5, 6 hours, you decompress a little, you take a deep breath. It's kind of the perfect time to get stuff done. And Kyrie and the Celtics, they got some relationship stuff done on that 6-hour flight.
Yeah, there's no escape.
No distractions.
No distractions, and you're stuck there with each other. It's the perfect time to talk. I think a lot of these situations, if there were actual conversations had, not necessarily in an airplane, but just sit down and hash out the issues, you can save a lot of these relationships before they turn sour. But we'll see how it goes. It's a big win for them. So I
don't think it means much for the Warriors, but I thought for Boston it meant something.
I don't know. Steve Kerr wasn't very happy. So the Cardinals have the first pick in the draft, and rumors have been swirling about Kyler Murray being their top choice. Kyler and Nick Bosa from Ohio State are currently tied as a favorite to be drafted first overall, but Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury insists the team has not made a decision yet.
50 days out, so I don't think any of us have a clue at this point. But it's fun to hear all the how I've said I do and that it's a done deal and all of those things. So you just roll with it and enjoy this process. Just rolling around Indy saying it's a done deal. So I would have to adamantly deny that.
I'm sure it's not a done deal just yet, but draft day is going to be very interesting.
You know what I did last night when I got home?
Mock drafts.
A couple of them. Sat down with a couple of NFL mock drafts, opened myself a Corona Light, and enjoyed it. So it broke down a lot of left tackles and pass rushers from schools. It was a great time last night. Sat there with my dog, Corona Light, looking at mock drafts.
I've never met anyone who loves the draft more than you.
I love it. Seriously. I've never done a mock draft. I may do one this year. I may do 7 rounds of mock draft. Just fill out. I'll just go the whole damn thing.
It's actually good research for our show.
Oh, it's great research. Me and Pete Schrager will do it all day. Why not?
Finally, the pursuit of Antonio Brown could finally be coming to an end. According to Ian Rappaport, the Steelers are moving quickly to find a trade for Brown. 3 new unnamed teams have entered the running. The Jets and the Cardinals are out.
Okay.
And the deal is expected to be in place Friday.
All right.
Here are the current odds where Antonio Brown will play next season. Oakland is the favorite, which I actually do like.
Okay.
And I think that he would be the perfect player to transition them to Vegas. So they do need some stars on their team once they make that move, which won't be for another year or so. Tennessee, Arizona, although Ian Rappaport's reporting that the Cardinals and the Jets are out of that. Green Bay, San Francisco, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and of course Pittsburgh is still on there, but they are going to trade him. So
whose list is that?
I don't know where this list is from, but these are the odds. These are the odds.
I don't love that. I think that list is off. I'll tell you why in a bit, but I don't buy that list.
I don't know. I like him landing in Oakland. I think that'd be a good spot for him. John Gruden has shown that he's able to manage big personalities in the past. He's a big personality himself.
Yeah.
And they need a receiver after trading Amari Cooper. So it's interesting.
Interesting. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
He is the instigator at FS1, has his own crazy theories. He's a Hall of Fame baseball voter, and he's my friend Rob Parker joining us in the Herd.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure. It was such a bad time for you when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, but I do feel like you've been reborn now, that LeBron's season's been an utter mess. After the season ended last year, I went out and I said, I played this for a couple days. I said, why didn't he take a year off? You don't get remarried again and move to Los Angeles. Sample. Go to the beach. Do movies. Do your pizza chain. Clearly, he's had no focus this year. Do you think it's a crazy idea? I think it recharged Michael. Andrew Luck, by the way, now it was an injury. I thought Robbie was a better quarterback. He was more efficient. He didn't make the dumb throws. There is something to be said. You and I can't take the year off because we got bills to pay.
Exactly.
But for a CEO, sells a company, could you argue LeBron would have been better to just recalibrate?
No, I get your point on it. But as you know, I told you a couple of weeks ago that they wouldn't make the playoffs. I just looked at this team. But here's my problem. And yours is compelling from the standpoint of recharge, take a year, get yourself together, and then get ready to take this on. The problem is, I think LeBron James came here with bad intentions. And I'll say it from this standpoint. At least Jim Brown had the decency to retire when he came out to Hollywood to be a movie star.
Yeah.
No, LeBron wanted the NBA money as a player, but he wanted to do all the other stuff. And see, that's why I say he has bad intentions, because this team, LeBron, has more projects, Colin, than the Lakers have wins. Just look at, he's in everything. He's involved. He's on television. You turn the TV on. He's on everything. And people said, oh, well, he has his own free time and he can do all that. The people in Los Angeles and the people spend money for Laker team, they don't want to hear that. I'm sorry, you still have a uniform on. They want you to be a basketball player. They want you to be committed. And LeBron wasn't committed. Colin, this is why he's to blame 100%.
What about Pelinka, Magic, the roster?
I'm not, you know why? LeBron is the worst general manager in the NBA. I've said this over and over. He's the one who brought the veterans, right, who came over.
So you think
Rondo,
he knew the roster?
Yes, he's the one. Was Magic and Rob Pelinka not going to give him what he wants once they get the best player on the planet? So, yes, these are the guys he wanted. LeBron came to L.A. knowing it's a young core, a young roster that needs time to grow. He didn't embrace that. Right away, halfway point, all right, I need Anthony Davis. I can't win with these guys. And then you look at he never brought in the Luke Walton. So you add up all these things, and then he doesn't, on the court, he doesn't play defense. So you can't ask your teammates to play defense when the leader doesn't play defense, and that's why I have a new name for LeBron.
What's that?
He's now the Wloat. W-L-O-A-T.
What's that?
The worst leader of all time.
He had a bad leading year.
No doubt about it.
He had a terrible year of leadership.
Body language, the way, remember he sat away from the team. There's just so many things you can look at this year.
Yesterday, Joy had a piece of video, and it's funny. I listen to radio shows when I leave sometimes, and I just thought the video was funny. But people who I listen to who are connected inside the Laker building were like, Kuzma shoving LeBron. It looked like, dude, we're watching. Let's go. Kyle Kuzma's the second best player on that team. You know, here's what's interesting. That about 2 years ago, a friend of mine who's a woman came up and said she went on a vacation with a guy, and he was on his phone the whole time. And I said, he's not that into you. He's distracted.
Absolutely.
LeBron is showing you he's not that into this Lakers team, these projects. Like Kobe bled L.A. This is my knock on LeBron this year. His body language, his thing. If Joy was doing 7 different projects, I'd be like, well, she likes us, but she's not really totally into the show. To do this show and to do it well, I can't be on 14 projects.
No, and here's the other one. This is why the mural was, 2 murals were defaced before the season even started. They got to feel like LeBron's not real. Is he really here for us? Is he really going to deliver a championship? to people, and I think people get a false sense of Laker fans. They think it's only the rich and Hollywood stars and all that. There's a lot of hardworking people who give up their money to go see the Lakers. They're into the Lakers. You know that.
Oh, no. I go Laker-Clipper games all the time. That's the misconception.
It is.
Like every Yankee fan's rich.
Right.
Go to a Yankee fan. 90% of Yankee fans are not hedge fund guys.
No.
Goulet's a Yankee fan.
They're working class people.
All fans are.
Yes, who give their money. So I think they felt like LeBron's not really, as you said, not into the Lakers. Is he into Los Angeles? Yes. He wanted to be here. This was the first time in his career. Colin, he always wants the deck stacked for him. He came to the Lakers without having a number 2 player in place.
That's fair.
He came here without really knowing what was going to play out because it wasn't that much about winning a championship in L.A. If he gets it done, fine. I think he also came here because, A, the Hollywood stuff, and B, he was tired of losing in the finals. If you come to L.A. or the Western Conference, you don't have a chance to lose a championship. You could, right? You need to beat the Warriors. You won't lose again.
Yeah, nobody holds it against MJ that for years he couldn't get past Boston and Detroit. They hold it against LeBron that he gets to the finals and loses. Nobody holds it against Georgia football. They can't beat Bama and get to the championship. They would get ripped if they'd lost 4 straight championships.
Absolutely. So I think that's another part of it. But it's a total mess.
It is.
And
it's a
LeBron
mess.
has to wear it. I'm serious. I think people, because if we were here right now and they were the 4th seed in the Western Conference with this team, people would give all the credit to LeBron. So
that's fair.
With it not being where they're out of the playoffs, he should get all the blame. And the other part is, Colin, plain and simple, LeBron came back. He's playing. He's putting up triple-doubles, right? And they're still losing. So you can't just say it was the stretch where he wasn't playing and they went 6-12. They just lost to the Suns, to the Grizzlies, to the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. I mean, look at the teams. They lost to Atlanta. They lost to some of the worst teams in the NBA with LeBron putting up numbers. LeBron has to wear this, and I think fans should not let him off the hook.
All right, let's shift to football. Kyler Murray, I think it's a weak quarterback class. I don't think he compares to Russell Wilson, who I think is one of the most underrated players in NFL history. And now stories yesterday, 2 sources told me they were not untrue, that he was not good at the whiteboard. He was not great in interviews. I saw him on the Dan Patrick Show when I thought that was an embarrassing performance by him. Dan asked legitimate, real questions. I mean, Dan was basically trapped with a guy. What do you make of Kyler Murray in the latest stories?
I mean, there's always going to be stories, in these situations where somebody's looking to be the first overall pick. So I get that. Anybody who decides to make the move, you know what? It's going to be a gamble. I mean, he might be the next it. But it's a gamble. And remember, Josh McDaniels in Denver, when he was the head coach, traded up for Tim Tebow, who was everything in college. Won a national championship, was on the team for 2 national championships, right? Tim Tebow.
Right.
A college legend.
Who a lot of people had doubts about.
He moved up, took Tim Tebow. That and, of course, cheating and recording a team's a walkthrough cost Josh McDaniels his job. But that didn't work out. As soon as John Elway could get rid of Tim Tebow, he did. Right. But remember, that's somebody that Josh wanted. So it's a gamble. But without risk, there isn't reward. So he might break the mold and be that guy. But I'm telling you, the people in Arizona, they better be very, very careful because it's a bad franchise and things haven't always worked out for them. And if you're the GM and last year you picked Josh Rosen and now here you are taking another quarterback the next year, you got to question whether or not what was the Josh Rosen pick about, and you got it wrong. I would charge that as getting it wrong.
Great to see you, Rob Parker, the instigator on FS1. Absolute pleasure.
Always a pleasure. On the way to USC, I got class.
You're teaching your sports commentary class.
No, today I'm in the newsroom with the kids. We put on a live TV show every Wednesday.
And you're the news director.
Yes.
Really?
Sports director.
You know what? Cut the time for weather. Nobody cares about weather.
Cut the weather?
Yeah.
Weather is like the biggest thing on local news.
I know. If I ran local news, there'd be no weather. I would come on and say, go to the Weather Channel right now. We're going to do more sports.
Well, maybe if it was if you're a weatherman in Southern California for the most part, those guys are stealing money.
Until the last month. You're right. Good seeing you. Coming up next, why John Gruden shouldn't go after Antonio Brown, and not for the reasons you think. That's coming up. If you haven't tried Butcher Box, you have missed out on a great new company. High-quality meats, the way it's meant to be. Organic, authentic, great flavor. They work closely with the best farms, committed to raising animals humanely. An ethical process. Also results in better quality, better tasting. Grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, wild-caught sockeye salmon, Bristol Bay, Alaska. Butcher Box has over 20 different cuts of meat. Customized boxes, variety of other options to choose from. And it comes at an affordable price. They offer free shipping